Hello everyone, welcome to the workshop. For today's episode I'm trying to film, we have this old Prentiss Bulldog vise. I don't know exact date of when it was made, but I found a couple just like it in an excerpt from a catalog from 1914. Now, some people in the comments on a forum said that these were made into the 1920s. So whether it's 1914 or 1924, it's old. It's from that time anyway. And when I moved out of a workshop a couple of years back, the new owner said, take whatever you want, everything's going out to the curb. So I was able to save it, and I've used it before. So it's in pretty rough shape, as we're gonna see. It works really well. I'm not gonna take it apart to the point of every piece taken off of it. I'm just going to take it apart to the point to clean it really well, lubricate it, and hopefully paint it. And for paint, bear with me here, I wanted to decide on a color and actually went to Tractor Supply. I'm kind of an antique tractor geek also, and there's different colors for tractors. I looked at different colored greens and some oranges like Alice Chalmers orange, Oliver green, and I was still drawn to the reds. And they had 4 different reds there for farm implement colors. They had International Harvester Farmall red, Ford red, New Holland red, which is a dark red, and this Massey Ferguson red. And I probably stood there for 15 minutes trying to figure out which color that I really wanted, but I decided on this. It's not too red. It kind of looks like a rich red color, but it's bright enough to say that it's red. It doesn't really matter. I just thought it would look good on this. So we're gonna have to disassemble this and get it cleaned up, lubricated up, and yeah, hopefully it'll be a nice new looking vise. All right, everybody. Basically, taking it apart is you're just going to unwind this till there's resistance and it feels like it's not going to go anymore. You kind of push past that and then it will wiggle apart. And that's as far apart as I'm going to take it, because I know the vise is in good condition. It works. It's going to get a really good cleaning and prep for paint. Try to get in here so you can see the markings. Prentiss Bulldog, New York, number 52. You can look inside there. Now that part there looks like a key, a drift pin that, I don't know if you can see it. You could take that out and pull all that out and clean it, but I'm not going to mess with that because it works fine. We only need to clean it. Also, I want to show you some of the damage. That ear was broken off, so someone brazed it back on. And you can see where the braze was filed smooth under there. It works, I mean, it holds. So I'm not worried about that. And on this, you can see a big chunk taken out there. It's almost like this thing fell off the back of a truck at some point in time. So yeah, that's basically it. We're going to clean it up real good and get the grease off of it and prep it for paint at this point. Probably do some wire wheeling, maybe some media blasting to the outside. We'll see. All right. All right, so I was cleaning with some simple green and some water, which is not clean enough to paint on or anything like that, but it did remove a lot of the gunk and grime, so I could get down to wire wheeling it to just see where we are. I have my Ryobi plug-in drill and some wire wheels. These are still here. They're pretty cheap. Get them from Home Depot, Lowe's, Harbor Freight, whatever. That's the dirty wheel that I use for some greasy shelves, just to get an initial take of how good this would look or not. And what happened was I found some more damage that I want to point out. Let me get it in frame. Look at that crack in the casting. I never noticed that before. It's probably more evidence of a catastrophic fall off the back of a truck or something, given that that broke off. And earlier I said that it was brazed, but after I cleaned it off, it's pretty bright. So this is nickel, and nickel rod would be the correct repair for cast iron. Yeah, it looks pretty blobbed on there, but you do see kind of a stack of coins here, so there was some proficiency, however ugly it is. I'm almost tempted to finish it in the end with a clear coat or something to showcase the damage, because I think it's cool, but I'm not. I'm gonna paint it, I'm pretty sure. But just initial cleaning, it looks pretty good. That was the only surprise. So next we're going to work on the other part. All right, everybody, we're into the next step, and it's the same episode, but it's a different weekend. Today, I forgot that we had tree trimmers coming for tree removal, and some old friends stopped by from years past. It was a great day. So after everybody left, I decided that I wanted to sandblast this piece. So I sandblasted it, cleaned it with lacquer thinner, and so there's no flash rusting. I used the Rust-Oleum automotive primer on it, and really nothing to see. If you saw it previously, after I wire wheeled it, it was pretty shiny. So after you sandblast it and get off a lot of the residual paint and muck off of it, it comes up to a pretty dull finish. It's clean metal, but it's very dull. Nothing really to see. You didn't miss anything. But I didn't have time to get to the other part, which looks like it come off of the lower decks of the Titanic. But we'll get to that next. But with this, hopefully, tomorrow, although it'll be the same episode, hopefully tomorrow we'll get it painted in this Massey Ferguson Red. But before I do that, I don't mind all the saw marks and damage and pock marks, and even this repair here. This crack really bothers me, so cosmetically I just want to fill it in. So there's a couple of options. I have this JB Weld product here, this Clear Weld 2-part epoxy. I know about that. And I've got this steel stick I've had for a long time, and hopefully it's not dried up, but I like to try it. You know, apparently you just work some together of this putty in your fingers and apply it where you need it, and it dries to a dark gray. It's very late as I film this on a Saturday night, but I want to get that done so I can paint this tomorrow. You could probably tell I'm very tired, but I want to try this, so we're going to give it a go. All right, I never used this steel stick from JB Weld before. I open it up, it's kind of like a Tootsie Roll. I don't really know. But you have this gray material out here, and then the black material in there. So I'm assuming you have to mix those 2 parts together to get it to work. So let's give it a go. Okay, I've got this piece less than the size of a pea. Part of the gray, part of the black. That seems to make sense. And as I mix it, I smell that epoxy smell. So I think I'm on the right track. Don't judge me. It's the first time I've used it. Always wanted to, but there's a first for everything. So I think this little tar ball is actually going to be a good repair, epoxy-wise.
They say you can jam it into leaks in fuel tanks, radiators, who knows what. But apparently it's really good stuff, so we're gonna try it. All right, I think it's mixed pretty well. I don't know if I gave it enough time or not, but you know what? I'm gonna tear a little piece off and just kind of roll it thin like that. I have no specific technique or expertise. I'm just going to try to lay it in there and just kind of mash it in and break it off as best I can. Just kind of mash it in there. I'm going to take the end of this knife and kind of press it in. Kind of do one of those. I'm going to try to wipe off the excess while it's still pliable, so I have less to sand when it hardens up. Less finishing work, but that filled the crack, so I'm pretty optimistic, but we'll see what happens when we return in the morning. All right, so we're at this point now, wire wheeled, sandblasted, primed, and painted. Time to take off some masking tape. I already taped out the jaw and took it off, but that's because if you wait too long till the paint sets up to take off the masking tape, it's going to pull the edges. It's going to rip the edges. So while it's still kind of pliable and semi-wet, that's when you remove masking tape for the best results. I also have the handle in masking tape and a part of the slide. Now, I probably painted more of the slide than I should have, but I couldn't find where it was painted before after I cleaned it up. I didn't sandblast that, but I did wire wheel it. So that's okay. I mean, if there's paint where the slide goes in, it's just going to rub off naturally. It's not polished up really shiny. This isn't going to look really good, and neither is this because I didn't finish this. For this, we're going to finish with a wire wheel. Now, I use this little wire wheel, my dirty wheel, for greasy, rusty things. The wires are starting to pull off of it and fly around. I should throw it away, but I'm going to keep it because I'm cheap. That's the way I am. I'll use it for another dirty project. But I figured we could wire wheel this handle to give it a nice finish. So I'm going to start with the new wheel. So I picked this one out out of this pack from Harbor Freight, about $5. Once again, we're cheap, but it does the job. So I figure let's get started. All right, so real quick, the video is getting long, so the red ends, they look like lollipops. I couldn't stand them, they're already gone. Got my wire brush, and basically what I'm doing is going like that. Clean the metal, that's the technique. All right, so is it perfect? No, because there's a lot of blemishes in even this handle. Deep pitting, grooves and all that. And it was a lot brighter before I put this on the 3-in-1 oil. So basically the technique is, this removes rust too, if you let it soak in. Put a little 3-in-1 oil on there. I'm just going to take my finger and move it around on there. Let it soak in. Just for example, and I buff it off. Buff off the excess. It's going to darken the metal a little bit. That's protecting it, but when you lift the paper towel, you can see some rust residue. So it's actually cleaning the metal. of the surface rust that's dug into these little porous areas. But all in all, that's not going to rust. And every now and then, you just put some 3-in-1, buff it off until it's not greasy. Like this. It doesn't feel greasy. And we're going to go with that natural steel look. I think it looks a lot better than the lollipops. Alright everybody, I want to get in here kind of tight because I'm going to fix a couple of chips, some things that are bothering me. I went outside and I sprayed some of the original paint into some aluminum foil. It's giving off some hellacious fumes, so I want to get this done really quick. I've got a big chip here that's bothering me. I don't know if you can see it. I've got one here and one here. Now no doubt this thing's going to chip over time. In hindsight, I should have used a different color primer like red oxide, but I had the gray laying around and that's what I used. So maybe in the future a red paint pen or something if things bother me. But I'm just about to get this done, so I want to fix it up. And the other point I wanted to make was there's a hole here from where this was machined originally. The paint really doesn't get in there. No one really sees it, but I know it's there and I see it. And it's kind of like misted over primer, so I don't know. I just want to finish it because if you're going to spray a lot of paint in there, what's going to happen is you're going to have overspray. So I'm going to hit it with the brush this way. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to take care of this tiny little blemish. I'm going to take care of this bigger one that's bothering me. And this one really bothers me because it's pretty big. Now I can't do this every time I find a chip, obviously, but to finish the project, that makes me feel a lot better. So let me push this off to the side. And we're just going to do this. We're going to zoom out so I can come in. Alright, so I had a good time. I told you some of my regrets about doing it. This is actually the vise that was in the old workshop, all dirty, brown, and rusted in the background. This is going to go on the new workbench where this is currently located. This is going to go up to the garage shop, and I'm just going to make a new base for this. So I'm going to securely mount it to this particular workbench and put it at the right level that I want it. And all in all, I can say I'm very happy with it. Sometimes you have to take an idea and just go with it, and I decided this is what I wanted to do and just did it. Another thing I'm not real happy about is the high gloss of this paint. Now you could knock it down maybe with a Scotch-Brite or something like that. I'm going to leave it the way it is, but it is pretty shiny. But yeah, it is what it is. Overall, I'm really happy with it. I hope you enjoyed this show, and until next time, welcome back to the workshop. Behave yourselves and get a project, get to it. So we'll see you later.